right, welcome back to the Talk Real to Me podcast. I'm your host, McCallister. Today, I have Brianne McCallister. She is the broker and owner of Hook Realty. Our podcast today, our topic is owning a VA-based brokerage, and she is the well-known name in Kings County, the number one person to go to. She doesn't like to brag much, but we're here to talk real. First off, that's a huge accomplishment. So I do think that needs to be mentioned, that you are one of the go-to. People do look up to you a lot. So we'll get into the topics of that. I want to start off just, tell us about yourself. How long have you been in real estate? What got you into it? Wide variety of things that you can talk about, but go for it.
Well, thanks for having me. Macaulay's also my brother. You forgot to mention that important part too. So real estate started with no intention really. We actually owe all this to our Aunt Chris, who is the wife of my dad's older brother. And I was born in the Bay Area. Macaulay was born in Fresno. So we have a little bit different of a storyline in our lives. But I went back to go to college up at Chabot Junior College and Cal State Hayward in the Hayward area, Bay Area, East Bay, and that's where a lot of our family is. So that's mom's side, dad's side, cousins, aunts, uncles. My dad's older brother, Uncle Mark, he and his wife live in that area, and I was coming up to go to college, and she said, "Hey, girl, you need to get a job," and and so that's kind of how real estate started. And she got me my first job was sorting mail and answering phones at a real estate office, and that's where it all kind of started. And I was 18 and sorting mail and answering phones and doing a lot of the grunt work, and started to get familiar with seeing different agents advertising and doing all the things. And that was 20 plus ish years ago. And from there got more of a full-time job around my schooling schedule, and then was hired as a personal assistant for one of the top selling agents in the Bay Area. And her name was Anna, and she was young. She was in the top 20 nationwide in real estate. Oh. And so I got to witness the hustle hard in the beginning, and that was in the real market of the Bay Area and competition. And you'd go to show a house and there was 20 people waiting in line to get in, and kind of a little bit similar to what our market was during the COVID time, over asking, cash appraisal difference, all that kind of stuff.
That was not a fun time.
No, it wasn't. It was, and I watched her very closely and watched her interactions with people. I watched her professionalism at a very young age and kind of grabbed some of that. And then ended up getting my license and had different roles. I think in real estate, I've done a lot of different things that have helped me become the more well-rounded where I'm at. And as assistant, I was a buyer's agent. I was on a team, went out on my own, and really kind of had to have a moment to realize where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do. And the great thing about real estate is you pick your destiny, and you pick how successful you are. You get out of real estate what you put into it. And so it's not a 9-to-5 job. It's not an easy, you clock in and clock out, and there's no guaranteed paycheck. So if you want a certain lifestyle and if you want certain things in your life, that is 100% dependent on you. And so I worked through the foreclosure market in 2007, 2008. I was sleeping on a couch in my office. I was doing, hustling out there. I was working with a great agent, and his name was Ishmael. Became a great friend of mine, and we just hustled and we pushed and built relationships. And through that is where I met some of the people that I still work with today, and some of my preferred people, lenders, escrow companies, that kind of stuff. And
shout out to Vero Mortgage.
Chicago Title, Jackie, her team. These are relationships that I just have established over time, and because they had the same work ethic as I do, and Jeremy at Vero started his hustle early too, and that was where that relationship kind of came to fruition with Jeremy, and He was out hustling hard and started as mowing lawns and making friends with other people that way, and I respected that and I appreciate that. So that was probably where I learned a lot of my negotiating skills, was through foreclosures, because those are different breed and you had to get super creative. And that's one of my, I think probably one of my strongest qualities, is negotiating and coming up with resolutions to non-resolvable situations. So and Ishmael was great at teaching me that. I had a great broker there at Evans, who to this day is probably one of my the people I look up to most in real estate. And when I was starting Top Hook, he had reached out to me and said, "Hey, I'm here for whatever you need." And those are important relationships to have through real estate, and those really deep to the core people that you can call. He helped me personally through a tough time, like when our dad died. He was the first phone call I got, and he was the first person there, and just encouraging me and pushing me and reminding me, like, you're loved, you're good, we're going to get you through this. And so those relationships are the ones that are important to me, and are the ones that I still look back on and think, those are the solid people that got me through not just real estate and helps me grow to what Top Hook is, but as a person as well. And so and then came and was at Keller Williams for a while, and really focused my goal on branding myself and who I was. And by the time I left Keller Williams, I think most people didn't even know what brokerage I was with. And that was the ultimate goal, so that when Top Hook came and when Top Hook became what it is, that it was Brianne McCallister and Top Hook Realty. And I worked on that for a couple of years. When my husband Dustin is a naval aviator and had spent most of his career in the F-18 side, flying F-18s, and was making that transition over to F-35s, we knew a little more was going to be our long term, which was always the goal. So the hopes and dreams of maybe having my own brokerage, that's when I kind of was more confident in doing it, because in Navy life, you don't know where you're going to go, where you're going to be. And you can have these big plans, and then Navy's like, yeah, no, it's not happening. Yeah. And so that's kind of when Top Hook really became a reality, that this is where we're going to be, and this is where we're going to have our boys and put in our roots and be a part of the community further than what we were. So, and I never had the goal of big brokerage and lots of agents. I had a goal of quality versus quantity. So we're small, but strong in the people that we have. We're strong in what we do with our community, and I wouldn't change anything for where we are today.
So we can hit two different topics on that. Thank you for that's very, very detailed, and people will understand from where you started. We'll start off with your husband staying in Lemoore. Yeah. You're saying that you were waiting to open the brokerage. From that scenario, most military people, they're used to 4 years, 3 years moving, to and from, not knowing where they're going. So the term of opening the brokerage, Top Hook, can you tell us what that meaning is? And then also just the overall, you guys having that comfort of knowing that, hey, we're here now and I can put my foot down on this and fully invest, on top of, living in the Valley. I think you have a very good dynamic of all that rolled into one place, and to where you can open your own thing and then hire your own people that you'd like also.
So I think we were very lucky in Dustin's naval career and in our Navy journey, where we weren't moving around constantly. And that didn't come without sacrifice on his professional side, where there comes a point in the officer world, as you're advancing, that you have to take certain jobs and you have to take certain assignments that are not in Lemoore. Right. And so we had to kind of come to a crossroads of future, where Navy was going to lead for our family, and where real estate was going to lead for our family, and what was the best for our family. And you added different personal dynamics of where's the best place for you to be? Where's the best place for your kids to grow up? Where is what happens to life beyond Navy life? And that's really hard when you're married to a career military, because it's hard to think past that commitment in that time of 20 years.
Right.
So we kind of had to have a heart to heart, and I think it was while he was on his department head tour. He was on VFA 41 and he was on deployment, and we were having some conversations about what was the ultimate goal for our family, and we knew that real estate was going to be there after Navy life. And so ended up kind of going off track with his military career, and then just really grasping those orders that left him in Lemoore. And we've been incredibly blessed with the people we come across in our Navy life, and that are our military family, and those people who were pushing hard for us to stay here in Lemoore, and knew that the bigger goal, and Dustin had to be very candid with, hey, listen, this is the goal for my family, and this is where we need to be, because post Navy life, it's going to be real estate. And that again didn't come without a lot of sacrifice for Dustin and his career. And so I know that that's not the case for most families, and so that's kind of a huge kudos to him for choosing his family over, continuing on that path that a lot of officers and pilots in aviation, they go that route of commanding officers and doing those kinds of things. And he had to make a choice, and he chose his family. And so we're lucky in that aspect, because not a lot of military families can do that. And so even more so, F-35s are primarily based here in Lemoore. There are other places too, but it's primarily, we knew that that's where he was going to be, which also opened up the opportunity for post-Navy life for him as well, of Lockheed Martin and all those other things. So things fell into place with us, and I do give a lot of that to him and his sacrifice, but also the relationships we built within the Navy community, who really fought hard for our family to stay here. And again, not just real estate, but for our kids and for their lives and their relationships and schooling and all that good stuff. And so the term top hook is a military phrase in the aviation community, which is given to the squadron with the highest landing grade. They're kind of the cream of the crop of the Navy, and they're the best of the best. And so the idea was actually Dustin's, and as we were talking about, well-rounded and just not just real estate sales. I think that we get caught up in that, and it does get embarrassing. I do sell a lot of real estate, and I do sell a lot of real estate to military families. But when I say the best of the best, that's not just the number one, my name at the top of the list on when that monthly sheet comes out. That's great, and that's nice, and I feel that that's more self-gratifying. But best of the best in how you treat people, and how you leave situations, and in how we serve our community, and doing what you do with purpose. And I have this great friend that I met through my volunteer work at the Wingman Foundation, and she lost her husband in Japan, and she really hones in on inheritance versus legacy. And yeah, it's great to leave, my kids and my nieces and nephews a big real estate empire and great things, but what I want more so is to leave them something where if they say, hey, I knew your mom after I'm long gone, or my grandkids, and she really helped me through a really hard time, or she was at the hospital when my husband was deployed and my baby was born. Those are the things I want my kids to hear. And I think you and I are pretty lucky in that way too, because we bring up our dad's name, and it's your dad.
Known everywhere.
He got me through some of the hardest times, and especially being a basketball coach, and high school is hard, and we are in the throes of teenage years in our house, and I know the importance of having somebody that helps you through those times. So I think that leaving my kids a legacy, and part of that is how I've built Top Hook, and the relationships I've built, the community service, those kinds of things. So when I say the best of the best, that's great, and selling a lot of houses is great. That's what we do our work for, right? Is to provide for our family. But for me, it's bigger than that, and I want Top Hook to have a purpose.
The purpose you have is well known around here. Events and everything that you pay for your brokerage to be a part of. We can talk a little bit about that. I know 4th of July events for on base. Parades locally for Hanford, and on base also You are very, very involved and put a lot of money, time, effort into the base. Can you explain your reasoning for that? I understand the purpose is, to let people know, hey, get that brokerage, get that logo out there. That's what most people think. But working with you and you wanting your agents involved, I've seen a different side of it's not just a logo. So just explain what your purpose is for going towards the base so much, other than being a military spouse. We can hear that part. But what are you trying to reach as far as hitting those big events that are on base?
Well, of course, there's the branding. I mean, I'd be lying if I didn't say there was the branding part of it. That's a part of what I owe back to my agents as well, as to get the brokerage name out there, to get the logo out there, to connect that with, oh, hey, this is the person that sponsored the fireworks, or this is the person that's all known. But I feel like, you have military families that have come out here and they know no one, especially you're on your first set of orders. You are 20 something years old. You are a new wife out here. You have a baby and your husband is getting ready to go on a boat and you don't know your neighbors. And so these events that we do help go back to, we pay this money and it goes to the MWR, which goes to support sailors. And so it's all a big circle of life. It's military life is all a big circle. Officer, enlisted, all those things. For me, it doesn't matter. It's that woman that's there with her baby and doesn't know anybody yet, and we are helping sponsor fireworks for her to go take her child, and maybe she meets a friend at that event, and the next day they're doing stroller class together, or they're doing something that's getting her involved and not making her feel alone, because military life can be lonely, and those deployments are hard. And when you get to a new duty station and your husband's gone and you don't know anybody yet, all kinds of things can happen. There's things that have to be addressed within the military community, including suicide and depression and all of those things. Is a fireworks show going to change that? No, but it's going to give an opportunity for you to go sit on that field, have your baby play with somebody else's baby, and then you maybe have a new friend from that event that was taking place. The money also goes back to the MWR, which, like I said, goes to supporting the sailors and providing opportunities for them for wellness and readiness and that kind of stuff. So I'm a big fan of that. I'm a big fan of taking care of our people. And if that young enlisted wife is in a good place, then her husband is going to be in a good place on deployment and not going to be getting the sad and depressed emails, because it happens. And then his focus can remain on his job at hand, and those hands may be working on the jet that my husband's flying. And so it all just, and if that jet comes home safely, then my husband's coming home safely to my kids. And so it's all just a big circle of taking care of our people so their lives are better, and just leaving things better than we found them, and making sure that that everybody out there is knowing that there's somebody there in their corner. And even if I were to, I get a lot of people saying, oh, I saw your logo or I saw that you sponsored the base parade. Thanks for that. My family was in town. It's the first time we've seen each other in 3 or 4 years, because it's expensive to travel and COVID, and we had the best time that night. And those are the kinds of things that, for me, give fulfillment and that make it. I remember sitting there that night and how many people were so excited, and seeing all the little kids running around and seeing the flag up when they had the fire truck and all those things. And I was like, for me, that was my fulfillment. And I was like, this was money well spent. And that's why I do it.
All right. I think the part I liked about that event the most was your clients coming up to you.
Yeah.
Just being excited to be like, hey, Brianne, that was cool. And then also, we did get a couple leads of people saying like, hey, we're looking. So you kind of hit both sides of, hey, guys, I'm here.
Right.
And you do show your face, which is important behind a brokerage.
Yeah.
So what kind of separates yourself from, let's say, a big name, brokerage? There's multiple out there. What separates your brokerage from that other big name company, or even, the smaller companies that, try and open up to get big? What's your separation between the two?
So I think Top Hook was built with purpose, and my purpose is different than everybody else. And I get agents that come to me all the time that want to join us, and that's one of the questions I ask. Why do you want to come to Top Hook? Well, you sell a lot of real estate. Yeah, that's not why you're coming to Top Hook, and you're not coming. I think what separates it is our goals are different.
I agree.
I don't, I see a lot of advertising of I'm number this person, I'm number that person. We've beat so many so-and-so in sales. I think that an important number should be how many of those clients return back to you, and what's your return on those clients. Because the first couple of years of real estate are hard. You're building your sphere, you're building your database, you're building your clientele. Nurturing your sphere, I think, is a lost art in real estate. It's how many new people can I get? Right. Well, wait a minute. What about these old people that should be your built-in business. And so I think that's what separates, is just the experience that we provide in taking care of our people. And that's before the sale, during the sale, and after the sale. I think that's the biggest compliment I get back from people is, and reviews that are left, is not necessarily how great the transaction was, because that's important. That's an important part of it. But it is those comments that I get that are, Brianne's been with us since after, and has, our dog passed away, and she reached out to say she was sorry and send her kids ice cream gift cards. Like, those are the things, doing what you do with purpose. And the purpose is not to sell a house and make money, but is to build a relationship. I kind of see it as every escrow you sell, or at close, it's not, hey, I made this much money and that's a number on my sales chart. It's, hey, I got like 5 or 6 new friends out of this, and those people become part of my village and become part of my life, and in turn then are supporting in the community when they see me sponsoring the fireworks, or they see me sponsoring the Wingman Foundation, or they see, and it helps everybody that is within my sphere of life or in my village. It helps those people too. If you share kids selling their Girl Scout cookies, and I share it on Facebook, somebody from my sphere of people and my village of people is going to buy some cookies from your kid. And so I think that's the difference, is the purpose behind Top Hook and the service we provide, and in the follow-up and the care, and all the things, all the exciting things. Babies are born. I've been at hospitals when babies are born because husbands are deployed. I've been the witness to more secret courthouse weddings, 2 days before deployment, that I can even count. And those are the things that I think make the difference, is the extra stuff that you show up for. So.
You almost did that for our wedding.
We were
almost there.
Justin and I are a courthouse wedding.
I remember those days.
Military life, man.
Yeah. The part I love about you is, just yesterday, I was at an Avid, and that's an agent visual inspection, part of the process of real estate, and your clients are moving to a whole different state, and their response to me is, we need another brand where we're moving. And I told them, good luck.
Yeah, I get that comment a lot. Will you get licensed where we're moving? No, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, so I personally think that's the best comment, and that does happen often. I don't tell you that, but there's a lot of people out there that have said that since I've been in real estate. So that is something cool to be a part of, and learning from you on that aspect, and seeing the grind and hustle. Just know it's appreciated from a brother standpoint, but also as a coworker.
Yeah.
Because that's what you are to us, and you make it feel that way by putting the effort. A boss feeling is not really that's not the feeling I feel as a brokerage for all of us. You are a coworker, and I think that's cool. I think that separates you from other brokerages, to where you walk in to another one and you're looking at the broker and you're like, it just feels different.
Right.
To where all of us here, being tight-knit family, we could come in and talk to you about anything. So I do think that the family side, what you've said, friends, family, everyone that comes in here, as soon as they walk in this office, which you guys have, you came from a small, at your home, to a whole office being built now.
Yeah.
That people feel like this is home.
Yeah, there was never a goal of actually having an office space. I was content with being at home with my kids, and we had an office built. We converted our 3-car garage to our home office, and that was great, and that was awesome. And our clients would come, and the kids would be playing outside, and they'd bring their kids, and they'd be playing outside. And some of my best times at the start of real estate were sitting in that office and having popcorn and with my clients and just talking and getting to know them on a personal level. And those were some good days, good feelings. And then the opportunity for this building and this office and all this to happen. And we jumped on it, and of course it was during COVID and all the things. Going back to that relationship with Jeremy, really making it happen, and being a huge supporter of me being bigger and being more, and Dustin saying, let's do it, let's make it happen. And I was nervous about opening and having a storefront and those things, but it was probably, the nudge that I needed to make it happen ended up being, again, another big step and a really great thing for Top Hook. And I have clients stop by. We have a nice big leather couch in front, and we just sit there and talk. Sometimes they'll bring their kids by and have a snack and grab some coffee, and we just sit and talk, and then ends up the whole afternoon goes away, and we're sitting in the front, and we haven't accomplished much during the day, but I get to reconnect with my people, and that's what I love too, is them always feeling the comfort to bring their kids in and stop in and say hi. Or the other day I had one of my long-time clients and became good friends, Ari. She stopped by and dropped me a Valentine from her little guy, and those are the kinds of things that just make me happy, and making it a comfortable place that my kids can be, that your daughter can be, and my niece, and we have, little pack and play set up and toys and all that kind of stuff. I just want it to be a place that my kids can grow up, and where she can grow up, and we can do it as a family. And that extends to our agents too, with their families. This is a place for everybody to be their best and do their best, bring their family, raise their kids, and it takes a village. And so it's nice. What I have loved the most, especially recently with Lennon, is walking in and seeing Bianca on the computer with Lennon on her lap, or Faith burping her walking down the hallway, or the boys sitting with her in her bouncer seat, and so everybody can work and get things done and get things accomplished. So that's been really exciting to see, and that's always just been the ultimate goal, is to make it a family-friendly environment. And so I want to have good relationships with my agents, professionally, obviously, and personally, and only put on the broker hat when I absolutely have to. And so that's also going back to being purposeful with who I hire, and making sure that the people that are coming in have just a burning desire to be better and to do better, and to really have a desire to obviously sell real estate, but to do it in a purposeful way, and doing it in a way where it's ethical and honest. And so if we grow, as we grow, however that may be, it may not be by numbers of agents, more so what we do in our community and what we give back. And the other great event that we did was I think the other highlight for me is probably the parade was a cool one to go and see. And
as far as locally,
yeah,
you feel?
I think the local was probably a good one. I enjoy Tailhook every year.
That's my next topic.
I feel like that's more of a,
that's my
personal and professional one. But
explain that Tailhook, as far as how you got into that, how long you've been doing it, and then where you're at now with it. It's been one of the coolest events that I have been to, that I've been allowed to go to, as far as just seeing your clientele from all over.
Yeah,
like
sure.
This isn't just a local event that you're going to.
Right.
We aren't just bringing a car and staying at a hotel for a few days. Like, explain that whole Tailhook scenario, because that is by far the best and coolest event that you're a part of.
So Tailhook, in a nutshell, is an event for any aviator or that's landed on a carrier, and it's an association, Tailhook Association. You go and really, I think that's kind of everybody kind of go. A lot of people that have anything to do with aviation go. So the first time I went was just as a spouse and went with Dustin, and there's booths set up as a convention. So it's set up at the Nugget in Reno. And you walk around and there's Lockheed Martin and USAA and Raytheon and all these places. As you are getting closer to retirement, it's a great opportunity to go around and meet people. And if you want to work and remain in the aviation, Martin Baker that does the ejection seats, all those things, it's a great opportunity to go around and meet those people and say, hey, I'm retiring in 2 years and your company is of interest to me. So that's kind of what I think is a great thing about Tail Hook. It's also a big get to see your old friends. We get to see friends that Dustin served with 10, 15 years ago, and that's kind of cool. We make it a point to bring the kids every year because a lot of being military kids, you say goodbye a lot, and or see you later a lot, and so they our friends are always very mindful to bring their kids, and then our kids get to see each other, and so it's a weekend of good time. To be mindful in how I say, but it's also an opportunity to see your old friends and that kind of stuff. So, but on the way home from Tail Hook, I had mentioned to Dustin, like, hey, it'd be kind of cool to have a booth there. And at that time, there wasn't anything outside of aviation.
Right.
And so I was like, yeah, but there's, I don't know, that'd be something new. And so I had reached out to Chaser, who runs Tail Hook, and said, hi, my name's Brianne, I'm in Lemoore, and Chaser's an old Lemoore guy and knew Dustin.
Okay.
And he's like, it's never been done before. And I'm like, are there rules against it?
That's why I'm here.
And no, but he was supportive.
Yeah.
But he was just like, I don't know, Brianne, like, I don't know. I said, well, let's do it. And he's like, gave me the cost, and it was a big bite. And Dustin and I talked, and he was like, I think let's give it a shot and see how it goes. And our first year we went, and we made this shanky old video and brought our TV and put the video on the TV, and had no idea like what we were doing. And a lot of people came up and said, who are you? What are you doing? And Vero had donated some stuff to take, swag. It's a big handout. You hand out a lot of things.
A lot
of swag stuff. And so, they sent some stuff, and then afterwards, I was unsure about it. I was very insecure about it because there was a lot of, what are you doing here? Because I was the first one to go and do anything outside of that aviation jet related stuff. I wasn't USAA. I wasn't any of those things.
Right.
But I met people, and I started networking and talking, and we were right across the way from the aviation museum set up. Became friends with them. They became our neighbors. Our neighbors on the other side, which are retirement, they do retirement, still there to this day, and are starting to help us with our finances and stuff. And I've remained at the same booth. So going into this year is going to be year 8 of me doing Tail Hook, and it's grown exponentially. And it's an opportunity to see clients. It's an opportunity to see old clients. People that have been serving overseas, and I sell their house and do those things, or they've been in Virginia Beach or wherever that I never get to personally meet. I hear their voice, and I'm like, I know that voice. And I turn around and I finally get to hug my client, which is kind of cool.
And they stay there.
They do.
Right?
They stay. We have
booth.
popcorn. We have beer. We have Jenny Cornett makes our cookies for us, and we hand those out, and we just sit and talk, and that's what the weekend is talking. And we hand out cards, and it was a long-term investment. Right. It was getting in front of these folks every year and getting in front of them. And now I get emails and say, hey, I saw you at Tail Hook. And so that's pretty cool. We also have, this past year, we're able to come and kind of feature the Wingman Foundation, which I'm a volunteer for on the mishap response team, and kind of highlight them and bring awareness to the foundation as well. So that's been exciting. Every year, Robert Zika, who's a retiree and a good friend of ours, he makes these beautiful cornhole boards and he donates them to Wingman, and we do a raffle. And then Top Hook will match that. So we usually average anywhere from $1,800 to $2,500 donation by the end of Wingman. But I think the goal, is again, just bringing awareness and that kind of stuff. So it's been a fun evolution to watch. We go and sponsor the spouses luncheon, poolside luncheon every year, and get to bring spouses together and of all different ranks and meet and talk. And it's a great opportunity for other spouses to bring in their things that they're doing on their base. We got some stuff going on down in Coronado and all over the place. And so that's a great platform for everybody, for spouses to come together and do those things. So I enjoy it. We've had some major family milestones there. Dustin promoted to commander there at my booth at Tailhook. I think that was probably my highlight year. That was my best year. And it was a great opportunity to kind of see our two worlds collide together of real estate and aviation. And one of Dustin's mentors and his wife is a dear friend of mine, the McCoys. He came and did his promotion, and that was exciting. And he's done his last two promotions, and to do it at Tailhook and to do it at my booth with our boys there, it's been a great opportunity for our family, and just a great experience overall. It is a fun time.
It is.
It's a fun time.
I look forward to that event. This will be the third year, but my first year, I was definitely in awe.
Yeah.
I was more in awe of the fact of the people that were coming to your booth,
Right.
that I realized were clients that have moved out of state.
Mm-hmm.
I love the fact that they would come wherever we are, right? Even at night when it's closed down. Hey, where are you at? They would come over. That year we brought an RV.
Yeah.
And they're sitting out there with us, and it was just cool to see that, as far as an aspect of, oh shoot, you just left us a year ago and now you're coming back. And then I realized people are in Virginia, Florida, they're in all different states, and they're coming to you, like to your booth, to sit there and talk and whatever it may be that they're going through in life. A couple good stories of us just sitting there.
I feel like realtors need to get a counseling degree in some sort as well. And I do. I enjoy the weekend of just catching up with people. And we've had some we've talked some people through some heartbreaks under that RV canopy at Tailhook. We've kind of done it all. And some of my dearest clients are Lemoore, and they're dual military family, Jesse and Elise, and they're up in Fallon. And so, every time we have Tailhook, they're just a short drive away, and it's awesome to just spend hours catching up and talking about things. And those are my best parts of real estate, is those relationships. And I think real estate was just an avenue to get to the friendships, and so that's what I love about it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, I love hearing that whole side and seeing it come to where other people, I do feel your brokerage is at the point where other people need to see your grind, your hustle.
Yeah.
Other than just your name and brokerage and numbers. There's a whole different side of you that people have no idea unless you work for Top Hook.
Yeah.
You can see it, but I do feel you are personally at the point where you can start building that brand even further than just Lemoore.
Yeah.
Just by these events that you're a part of.
Yeah. It's been on the radar. It's been in conversations of, do you expand? Do you go to San Diego? Do you go to Ridgecrest? There's all the things. I've even gone down to Ridgecrest to sell for clients that are just like, we want to do this with you. And kind of all over up north. We've been everywhere. That's a huge compliment to me, as well as you kind of set the bar high, and then I hate when I hear from people like, they're not you, and it's a mixed bag, right? Like, because you always want your people to have the best experiences in whatever it is, not even just real estate.
Right.
So when you hear that, you're like, oh, shoot,
Yeah.
But then it's also a compliment, because you left them with expectations of how they should be treated and how their experiences should be. And I fall short sometimes, and sometimes there may be a personality conflict, and I'm not going to make everybody happy. And that's the hard part for me because I'm a people pleaser and I want people to be happy and I want them to have a great experience. And so when I fall short on that, that's a struggle for me too sometimes. It's like, well, shoot, that didn't go as planned.
Yeah.
But as you grow and as your business grows, you realize that not everybody is going to be your biggest fan, and that's okay. That's part of life. So
I got 2 more questions. We'll hit the VA escrow side of stuff.
Okay, let's do it.
So when it comes to a VA client or possible client, what is a few tips that you would give them in starting the process of home buying? It could be a first-time buyer, first-time seller, and overall, just what are some tips that you would give them?
So I think selling a house with a VA loan is no different than selling any other house. There's no real ties. There's nothing that it's a sell. So there's that. I don't think that as a seller, when you turn to sell your house and you have a VA loan on your house, there's not really any different than any other sale. The buying aspect's a little bit different, and I think that you look to find an experienced agent that is experienced with VA loans, because they are different, and they're the most important thing I tell my clients at any buyer consultation is my goal is to not just sell you a house, it's for you to understand the VA loan product, because that is a benefit you get as a service member, and you need to understand what is available to you. The zero down, not always, but most of the time the rates are much cleaner and better than conventional or FHA. You can use your VA loan and have more than one home on your loan at a time. But again, there's restrictions to that. Finding somebody that's well versed is incredibly important. Finding somebody that's well versed in a seller's market is also important, because you need to have somebody that's able to go in and negotiate and explain to a listing agent that may not be educated on a VA loan. And there's a stigma sometimes with VA. Oh, well, VAs are awful. VA is this. And I watch on different platforms online, and it drives me nuts when I see people throwing out these false accusations on VA loan, because it's doing a disservice to a service member, right? And those are the people we should be protecting the most. Those should be our people that we're fighting for and advocating for. And so most agents around here are fairly familiar with VA, because that is a huge product that is used here. But you still get the ones that, oh, well, it's a VA and I've got this. Well, tell me, then my counter response to that listing agent is, tell me what your concern is, VA versus conventional. And 95% of the time that listing agent can't tell me.
Idea.
Well, I read, okay, so here's my solution to that answer.
Right.
And so I think it's important who you find to help you navigate through that in different markets is important. Being VA familiar is incredibly important when you're out buying a house, because they need to be able to walk through the house and say, hey, that might be a concern for VA. That's something we keep on our radar. And then I put it in my memory bank that at the end of the day, after we've seen all these houses, if that house that may have had an issue with VA, I'm going to say, hey, listen, here's my concern, but I'm going to reach out to the listing agent and say, hey, I saw a roof stain on the roof. This could possibly come up as an issue, or is your seller willing to remedy that? Are they aware? Did they fix the roof? Is that just a stain that they didn't remedy? And so those are important things too. It's important to know, can you borrow funds for a VA loan? Because not all loans allow you to do that. Right. VA is one of the few zero down programs. And so there's some stuff that comes with all that. And so I think it's important to have somebody well versed, and in turn have a lender that can walk you through it as well.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Cool. Jake, do I have time for?
What's that?
Do I have time for one more?
Yeah, I was just letting you know. I know.
4 minutes.
At 8:45.
Cool.
Yep.
What time is it?
Almost
Sorry,
there.
Faith.
we're there. Last one. So you have one thing to pick from. What is the most rewarding thing when it comes to VA escrow being closed, and what is the most difficult part of it?
I think they're kind of one and the same. The most rewarding part is being the first one to greet them, welcome them to Lemoore or Hanford, wherever they end up being, but welcome them to the area. And that's the greatest part of it, is handing them keys, knowing that they have a safe place to call home and raise their kids, and that they're if they had deployments or whatever, that they're going to have a safe place to land, and that their spouse, when, if they go out on deployment, and let's say you're a wife and you're going on deployment and your husband's home raising your kids, or vice versa, that they're in a safe place, and knowing that they have a support here with not just me, but all of my people have become close with my clients and support them and whatever, knowing that they've got that. And then kind of the worst part is saying goodbye too, because they become family, and
Right.
that's the hard part. But it's kind of it's a blessing and a curse at the same time, because I become close and I become invested in my clients, and so when they leave and we're saying our see you laters, it's that's the sad part. But again, all roads usually lead back to Lemoore, so
Yeah.
I'll see them again at some point, and that's
Right.
the great thing with social media, and you get to follow them. And I get the random texts of, my daughter's getting married, and it's so exciting. And I had sold them a house when their kid was in 5th grade, 6th grade, and their kid's getting married, and like those are the exciting things. Or when new babies, we just had one of our clients have a new baby in the past couple of days, and that was super exciting to see. And it's just those things. I think overall and the other negative I'd probably say with VA is just the stigma of uneducated agents that don't know. So when you have uneducated agents, you have uneducated sellers and uneducated buyers. So I think that's the other tough part with VA is the people that don't get it and don't understand. And I really don't have any problems with my VA offers. That's the crazy thing, is that most of my clients utilize that benefit because it's a great benefit to them. And then I see people that sell 2 or 3 a year. It's the worst thing. Well, you don't know how to navigate it.
Right.
And so it's important to have the right team and to ask the questions and that kind of stuff. So I think that's the other negative, is just not having enough people understanding it.
Awesome.
So.
Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Super excited.
Yeah.
For
This is
you
a good
allowing me to do
We'll
this.
see how it goes.
This has been a work in progress. I've wanted to
Yeah.
do this for a long time.
Super proud of you for all this. Was not on board at first, and so I'm excited to see where it goes and what you do and all you've been doing and how you take care of our clients and all that stuff. I love being able to see our kids every day together and be able to hold my niece and write offers and do that kind of stuff. That's all what the ultimate goal is. So I'm excited it's all happening.
Yeah, me too.
All right.
Awesome.
All right.